Whenever that comes into the
I
agenda, we'll
got
talk
it,
about
I
it.
don't wanna share it, but it's nothing
Yeah,
diagnosable,
but it'll be enough.
but I got.
The structure of town government, and it's a lot of reading. I'll read through this and then I'll ask for, a motion in a second from the council. The council, will then endorse this. I'll call for votes. And a lot of this is perfunctory, and if you feel the need to vote the discussion, and I haven't asked for that, just interrupt or whatever. And we can entertain a discussion on the particular motion and get time. Wait. Okay, are we ready yet? Ange? Yeah,
Yes. we are
Okay.
ready On Zoom.
I'll ask you to take the roll
All right, Supervisor Michaelenko,
here.
Counselors Alex, Renza,
Here.
Lee Hood,
Here.
Mannion,
Here.
Shop,
Here.
and Dooley.
Here.
Okay. With that said, if those of you on the board and maybe in the audience, you have a copy of the notes for the organizational meeting, but we'll run through this in order. Start out with the town board schedule, and in some cases, I won't read the whole resolution as recorded in print, but in others, I will. So, but some of them, like I say, it's just quick and easy to make the appointment for me to announce what we're appointing to and the individual that we're appointing to that position. Okay, so town board meetings, for example, are the second and fourth Monday of every month at 6 p.m. I'll entertain a motion to set the schedule from Max and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. The town newspapers are the Eagle Bulletin and the Syracuse Post Standard. I'll entertain a motion from Carrie, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Well, the official depositories are the New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System, J.P. Morgan Chase Bank of North America, Bank of America, M&T Bank, Key Bank, Salve Bank. Call for the motion from Joe, second from Gary. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to appoint the deputy supervisor, Counselor Mannion. From Joe, a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried.
I always abstain.
Yeah, and I always say this every year too, and the only reason I say it is it's the only power that a supervisor carries. Every decision that a supervisor in town government under New York state law makes is run through this board. And there are very few authorized powers that the supervisor holds. One of them is the power of appointment. So even though I asked the board to endorse it, I could individually appoint Counselor Mannion if I so choose. Okay, Deputy Town Clerk will appoint Kate Werner. Motion from Jack, a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. I have a motion to appoint the delegate, Counselor Ruxensel, and the alternate, Sarah Clee Hood, to the Association of Towns meeting. I have a motion from Carrie and a second from Joe. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Yes.
Yeah, Max and Sarah. Okay. Thank you. The annual membership dues are $1,650. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the comptroller to make that payment. One from Joe, second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay, entertain a motion to authorize attendance of one town official to the Association of Towns meeting between February eighteenth and the twenty-first in New York City, along with the associated expenses as outlined in the resolution. Entertain a motion from Jack and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Max?
Sure.
Yeah.
This was one that Karen, it was a 7 ayes last time, so I didn't know.
Yeah, okay. You
Can't
can,
be good.
it doesn't matter. I mean, you probably could go, but typically there's an abstention for the individual that's attending. Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the following appointments. Carrie Fusco is the Special District's Budget Officer. Doug Miller is the Coordinator for Compliance for Americans with Disabilities Act. William Good for the Court Attendant, part-time position. David Jones for School Traffic Officer, part-time. Michael Norton, Special Patrol Officer at ESM, part-time. And Jeffrey McDonald, the Special Patrol Officer at JD, part-time.
They're switched.
Oh, they are, huh?
I got them wrong.
Michael and Jeffrey.
Okay, so with the correction that Jeffrey is with ESM and Michael is with JD, I'll entertain a motion. From Sarah and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. The town attorney, I hereby, I'm looking for a motion to authorize Mannion and Copani Law Office to provide assistance to the attorney for the town of DeWitt. I have a motion from Joe and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstention.
Abstention? Okay. The court filing fees, authorize the town attorney for up to $250 in reimbursement related to court filing fees. Motion from Joe again and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll authorize to sign a contract with Carrie Fusco as the comptroller for the town of DeWitt, subject to legal review. I have a motion from Sarah and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I need authorization to appoint Rocco Conte as the superintendent to the water department. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Chase Bilodeau as the Chief of Police and Public Safety for the town of DeWitt. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Sarah. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Entertain a motion to appoint Chase Bilodeau as the Freedom of Information Law Officer. Motion from Joe, a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize Chase to appoint an officer of the police department as the Freedom of Information Officer in his stead. Motion from Carrie and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, on committees and liaisons, I would ask for a motion to constitute the committees for the town board for 2024, Budget Audit and Procurement Committee, the Comprehensive Planning Committee, the Projects and Engineering Committee, the Safety and Emergency Services Committee, the Insurance Committee, and the Seniors and Disabilities Advisory Committee. And again, all of this is subject to change at any point in time during the year. I have a motion from Max and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, motion's carried. And again, this is one that you can always bring additional organizations or entities that you would like to liaison with on behalf of the communications of the town board. But we have a series of liaisons that we make, and it's the role of that liaison to bring communications that are critical or important that this board should know throughout the year. And so it's basically an assigned organization or entity of which we'd like to maintain lines of communication with. And so the internal communications are the Planning, Zoning Board of Appeals, the DACC, the Tree Committee, Parks and Recreation. And then there's the schools of ESM, JD, then there's the libraries at East Syracuse and DeWitt. And then there's our governmental organizations, the New York State Legislature, the Onondaga County Legislature, the Village of East Syracuse. And there is other organizations on the list right now, including the Jamesville Chamber, other town supervisors, NYMER, the Emergency Services Coordination, the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium, OKRA, Center State CEO, the Veterans Administration, the 174th Hancock National Guard, which is located in the town of DeWitt, and then Challenger Baseball. Again, if you have other interests in other organizations that you think we should be maintaining those line of communications, let me know. I'll entertain a motion from Joe in a second from Max. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I have a motion to appoint Josh Werbick to a full term at the Zoning Board of Appeals from Max, and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Joseph Della Posta to fulfill a relinquished term, which would expire at the end of 2028. I have a motion from Max and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Kelly O'Connor as chair of the ZBA. I have a motion from Max and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, we still have a short term that there was a resignation to fulfill. So at any point in time during the year, we can fill that, and we have a couple of alternate seats that we can fulfill. All right, I'll entertain a motion to assign Matthew Natoli as the attorney for the Zoning Board of Appeals. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motions are carried. I have a appointment of Angela Eppolito to the position of clerk for the Zoning Board of Appeals. I have a motion from Joe and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to appoint former alternate Jenny Reagan to a full term on the Town of DeWitt Planning Board. I have a motion from Carrie and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Nathan Brown as chair of the Town of DeWitt Planning Board. I have a motion from Carrie and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll also entertain a motion to assign Jamie Sutton as the attorney for the planning board. I have a motion from Joe and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, again, we're recommending we table the Recreation Commission, and that's hopefully something that we can piece back together as we reassemble the department. We've got a new director coming in this year, and that'll be one of the programs or areas that we'll work on with her to fulfill. Okay, the DeWitt Advisory Conservation Commission. I'm looking for a motion to appoint to the two-year term Dennis Payne, Sharon Moran, Ann Stevens, and Martha Lowe. I have a motion from Joe and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay, the tree committee. I am looking for a motion to appoint to a two-year term the members Dave Mitchell, Kate Woodle, Gordon Heisler, Ann Stevens, and Mike Chappell. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay. All right, here, I gotta move the minutes up here. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the following appointments to be made to the police commission. All right, there's the chair. We're looking for Jack Dooling as committee members, Sarah and Bernard. And non-voting members, we have Ernest Cooper, Susan Damari, John Duncan, Laura Fiorenza, Paul Godfrey, Daniel Malay, Rowan Mahita, David Newman, Laureen Dady, or a representative of the village government, and as the secretary, Chase Bill. Any further discussion? All right, there's always room for other appointments as well. There's other community members that you'd like to see in service as a non-voting member, then please bring them to us as we go. And again, I'll entertain a motion from Max and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We got exemptions in that. Self and Sarah and Alex.
Yes. Yep. That still leaves us a majority. Up with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we got the abstentions. All right, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Matthew Natoli as counsel to the police commission. I have a motion from Sarah and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. You know, there's a fan sitting here, Alex. If you've raised your hand, I haven't seen it. Oh.
You got a doctor.
I don't need, yeah.
No, but that's my fan. Don't let it go anywhere. I need that.
Things get hot on the seat, huh?
That's that road.
Okay, let's see, where do we leave off?
Court security.
Court security. All right, I'll entertain a motion, authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with the courts and security providers at a rate of $31 an hour. I'll entertain a motion from Jack and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue the following trailer licenses. The Linden Trailer Park, former Thomas Duffy. The Cliffside Trailer Park, it's the Fifth Garden Park LTD, the Midler Meadow LLC, and the Pleasant Valley, which is Doherty's Trailer Park / Hometown Communities, Inc. Entertain a motion to issue those licenses from Sarah and a second from Max. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize execution of the contract with the SPCA for animal cruelty services at a cost not to exceed $6,650. I'll entertain a motion from Alex and a second from Counselor Chiarenza. I'll entertain a motion to authorize execution of the contract with the SPCA for dog control at a cost not to exceed $30,000. I'll entertain a motion from Counselor Alex and Counselor Chiarenza in a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. I'll entertain a motion that the dog redemption fee be established at $185 per dog plus any additional veterinary and medicine costs that may be charged by the SPCA. Entertain that motion by Bernard and the second by Joe. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Second. Excuse me, any abstentions? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize signature of the contract for engineering services pending legal review with Miller Associates. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement with the Trinity Fellowship for room use from January 24 to December 31st of 24, not to exceed $400. A motion from Bernard, a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement with Dig Safety in New York, former UFPO, for services at no cost to the town. Counselor Mannion likes that no cost to the town. A second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize signature of the contract for communications with Kelly Gray Smith. Nobody's gonna move. I have a motion from Bernard, a second. From Mannion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to enter contract with the Center for Family Life and Recovery for Employee Assistance Program. Bernard, second from Sarah. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize Angela for attendance to the Onondaga County Clerks Association meetings at an annual maximum cost of $200 to cover dues, mileage, and meals costs. I have a motion from Joe and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to author Angela to attend the Onondaga County Associations of Tax Receivers and Collectors at a maximum cost of $200 a year. Entertain a motion from Carrie, a second from Sarah. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the Director of Planning and Zoning or their representative to attend the New York State Builders Officials Conference monthly meetings at a annual maximum cost of $250. I always joke, but I wonder why planners are $50 more than tax receivers and the clerks. I have that motion from Joe and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion's carried. All right, there's this one I'm gonna read because it is something that people have questioned in the past. So I need a resolution to approve the blanket undertaking bond covering all town officers and employees as required by section 25 of the town law. And it is further resolved that town justices are specifically covered under said blanket undertaking as required by public officers law, section 11 in parentheses 2. A motion from Max and a second from Alex. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to resolve that the supervisor is authorized to file a copy of the annual financial report with the town clerk to the state comptroller in lieu of preparing an annual financial report, and the town clerk is authorized to publish a summary thereof on or before May 1st, 2024, in accordance with section 29 of town law. Motion from Counselor Mannion, a second from Counselor Dooley. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. All right, I'll entertain a motion to in accordance with section 124 of the town law, that the town comptroller is designated the accounting officer of the town and is directed to perform all functions set forth in said section 124 New York State law. Entertain a motion from Bernard, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, motion's carried. Okay, I'll also entertain a motion to resolve pursuant to the provisions of section 284 of the New York State Highway Law that we agree that the monies levied and collected for the repair and improvement of highways and received from the state for the repair and improvement of highways shall be expended as follows. General repairs, the lump sum of $2,186,598 may be expended for the general repairs upon 128.79 miles of town highway, including sluices, culverts, and bridges having a span of less than 5 feet and boardwalks or the renewals thereof. No money set aside for such improvement shall be expended, nor shall any work be undertaken on such improvements until the county superintendent, if required, approves the plans, specification, and estimates for such construction. This agreement shall take effect when it is approved by the county superintendent of highways, if required. I'll entertain a motion. Jack, and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to resolve that authorize the supervisor to sign the New York State Highway Work Permit for general maintenance of town utilities within state road right of ways. A motion from Max and a second from Sarah. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment of compensation for the Board of Assessment Review up to $20 for organizational meeting, and when they sit as the Board of Assessment Review, $20 per hour. Motion from Carrie and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the standard rate of reimbursement for mileage as established by the Internal Revenue Service for 2024. A motion from Jack and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay. I'll ask for a motion in a second in a moment, but what I'm going to read is the salaries of elected officials and town officers and non-union employees are set as follows. Okay, the office of counselor is set at the salary at $15,300. The supervisor's salary, mine, is $54,621. The deputy supervisor's salary is $2,080. The town justices are $41,616 dollars. The annual salary for the clerks to the justices breaks at $23.19 per hour. And on July 5th, that will increase to $23.74 per hour. And that again is the annual hire date. The clerk McClure is hourly salary at $20.27 per hour. And on September 6th, I assume that should increase, but it's saying the same number?
That says 2057.
30 cents delta.
Almost the same.
It says, 26th through, September 26th.
Right. Oh, and I have a 30 cent increase. I got it. All right. 2057. All right, Clerk Zavaglia at $19.07 per hour. Okay, court attendant good at $20 an hour. Special patrol officers Norton and McDonald at $40 per hour. Bookkeeper to the supervisor DeMung is $23.03 per hour, and on November 27th, that will jump to $23.43 per hour. Assessor Kerr salary is set at $66,241. Clerk Wolf is at $15 an hour. The town attorney salary is set at $102,000 per year, and the zoning board attorney at $28,000. The town clerk / tax receiver salary is set at $56,100. Records management at $15,810, and deputy clerk Werner is set at $19.97 per hour, and on August 22nd, 2024, the salary is set at $20.27 per hour. Tax clerk part-time worth is set at $20 per hour. The highway superintendent Conte is set at $86,700 per year. The secretary to the highway superintendent Samaro is set at $22.07 per hour, and on January 20th is set at $22.37. The Parks Department Property and Building Maintenance Conte is set at $15,000 per year. Police Chief Bilodeau salary is set at $115,160 per year. Captain White is $105,398 per year. Police Lieutenants Fuller and Pace salaries are set at $98,840 per year. Recreation Department and Sawmiller is set at $7,000 per year. Site coordinator Armstrong at $2,000 per year. The planning and zoning codes officer Kelly is set at $32 per hour. Bosch and Russell also at $32 an hour. The clerks for Gandy and Halpin are set at $18 per hour. The planning secretary is $200 per meeting, and the water department water superintendent Rocco Conte at $22,500 per year.
That's what
Yeah.
So the hourly rates right for the clerks and planning and zoning.
Yeah.
Next.
It's the same as it was last year. We
Yeah,
didn't,
that's,
I thought we agreed.
I thought we were going to too.
these came from Carrie, so.
This is something that we can
We
catch.
can, why don't, we'll make a note of it and we can bring it back for the next meeting.
There's a number, I was gonna close with the fact there's a number of positions and other adjustments that could be made after the fact too. This is what's being posted here tonight.
Okay,
So should the budget committee and others, like there's other positions to be filled that are on this agenda, like the director of planning and zoning is unfulfilled at this point. That's gonna come back to the board. There's other adjustments to be made. There is for example, on here is a planning secretary, right? The secretary to the planning board is here, but likewise, we need to make an appointment to the plan, to the ZBA. And so those adjustments, I believe, will be made in the upcoming weeks.
What's the planning, secretary Baker, 200 hours a meeting? What does that mean?
There is 2 monthly meetings of the planning board, and her additional responsibilities are preparation of the agenda, setting up the electronics in the meeting, taking the notes and preparing the meeting minutes of then, which would be reviewed by the planning board chair and the legal counsel to the planning board.
Okay, but
And then-
her regular salary's not on there.
Because she's a union employee regularly.
Yes,
This is an additional duty similar to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
website for it.
yeah, similar to the webpage, right? Yeah. Yeah, and so there will be one, I believe Sharon Halpin has agreed to do this for the zoning board. They have less meetings a year, but this board is yet to decide if it's gonna keep a consistent pay rate and so on for that. Okay, so with all that, I'll entertain a motion in a second. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to establish the 2024 holiday schedule. I don't need to read that, but there is a standard list of holidays that the town has scheduled for 2024. I believe it's a total of 13 days. Maybe I'm off. It could be.
Yep.
Yeah. Take a motion from Joe and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, I'll adjourn the organizational meeting. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Bernard, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Motion's carried. Okay, our regularly scheduled town board meeting got moved back, didn't it? To 6:30?
No,
To immediately following.
What?
yeah, it does say, I mean, it does say immediately following. But that's more of a town attorney question.
It says immediately following. Why argue?
All right, my agenda has a 6:30 time frame on it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's when you scheduled that.
Okay. So what's the,
I'd say go for it now.
okay, all right, does anybody need a break or should we jump right into it?
We are broadcasting it on.
Yeah,
You can always
everything's,
go back and watch it.
everything's online. Okay, all right, with that,
Do you want, are you, yeah, you do want to leave? Okay, yeah, can we adjourn for a minute so you can do a few
The
signatures?
signatures.
sure,
Okay,
absolutely. All right, we are adjourned. We will not
yeah.
engage in the regular scheduled town board meeting.
Yeah.
For another few minutes.
I.
I see the folks in the audience. There's no one here that wants to raise an issue or concern or question with this town board. It's not on tonight's agenda. All right, with that, then let's get to the agenda. I'll ask the clerk to take the roll.
Right, Supervisor Michael Anko,
I'm here.
Counselors Ruchteschau,
Here.
Clee Hood. Here. Julie,
here,
Alex,
Here.
Chiarenza, Mannion.
Here.
And I would just like to say, I'm now pronouncing his name right.
It's only been 2 years.
I know.
So, but we need them to stay.
Red Bull is here.
Okay, all right. The approval of the December 22nd minutes. I have a motion from Max and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed, abstain, motion's carried. Authorize to hire a deputy town clerk.
All right, I am proposing to, I interviewed Maria Madonna, who, has, I put in her resume in the packet. I would like to start her at a salary of step E at 1877. And I confirmed with the comptroller that January 9th, which is tomorrow, would be an appropriate start date.
Okay, I have a motion from Max and second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. We'll note for the record that it's tax season, it's extremely busy time of year for Angela's office, which is good. And then the budget audit and procurement committee is recommended based on our past audits that we consolidate collections. So in 2024, we're gonna look to have additional staff to be able to consolidate collections of monies that were occurring in the Parks and Rec Department and Planning and Zoning are now being moved to the clerks and tax office. Okay, Highway Superintendent authorization to hire an MEO.
Yeah, we have two retirements currently, so we're looking around for staff, so if anybody knows any MEOs with CDLs, please have them see me. We have Derek Barrow for a position. Same with Angela. I talked to Kerry. He could start tomorrow, the 9th, at step 5 at 23.87 an hour. And he is a CDL A driver, which is good, better than the B. So, any questions?
You still have openings though, right?
Yep, I'll still have one more MEO and I'm still looking for a laborer for the Parks Department. So if anybody has any applicants, feel free to stop in the highway.
Entertain any other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion from Jack and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Okay, Council Natoli, the,
So guys, there's just one more thing. So it's not on the agenda before we move on, actually related to the deputy town clerk with adding the position in the clerk's office, Esme's position, Superintendent Conte, was, and we're talking about moving her over
yeah,
to water from a functional standpoint, supervision.
Yeah, I talked with Angela. Angela, you're okay with that if we do
Yeah.
this tonight?
And I also confirmed it with Esme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
And what we'll
I
do
thought
is-
you were waiting to get the other person in.
Well, she can still use Esme until we get everything
Okay,
set up.
from an accounting standpoint, though, again, you've got that union dollar per hour issue. So whenever, and I don't mind, it's a matter of how you want to treat the employee and the compensation, but when someone's assigned to a department and then they go work in another department, they gain, and it's an incentive to provide cost training. But someone gets those additional money. So if we move her to water tonight, any hours she works in the clerks, I believe would be,
Yes, but it just basically flips because she's been spending quite a bit of time in water and
Sure.
getting the extra money. So this would mean she'd get the extra money in clerk, but not in water.
perfect. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to make that transfer from Max. Second. From Carrie, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Matt, authorize the deer culling application?
Yes, I'm holding a deer damage permit application. I have copied the same information as last year. And additionally, we have submitted 5 12A forms from participating areas. We had 6 last year, but 1 would like to do their own culling. So we told them that they have to get a waiver from the DEC, which they're going to try and do. But as of now, we have 5 areas, have all submitted their paperwork, and then once I submit this, we'll be good for 2024. If anyone's interested, last year we called 63 deer, 2 years ago 58, and 3 years ago 73.
Okay, a motion from Max and second from Joe. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Okay, there's just one word here under my name. It's called pesticides, and I actually am looking for 2 separate resolutions from the town board. The first is, and I thought it was time, and if you need more time to either study or inform yourself, let me know. But the town established a long time ago a no-use pesticide policy. You know, prior to the establishment of that policy, town hall was regularly used for the extermination of insects or whatever chemicals were placed in windows, and we got employees and stuff that worked in contact with those chemicals. Our parks were treated with herbicides for lawn maintenance and so on. And anyways, through recommendations of the DACC and the establishment of a sustainability policy, and I certainly support not using chemicals for those types of controls. And so many of you are all new board members since the formulation of that policy. And the DACC forwarded a letter to me recently, of which I would like to execute. But again, I don't do anything that's unauthorized. And so that letter is in your packet. And the DACC prepared a letter that is requesting action at the, I believe, state level. Federal. The federal level. And so I'd like to send in that letter, if at all possible, that gives local governments the ability. We're not asking for any position on pesticides. We're asking for the position that it be local in its determination, to not override. And so as someone that does not want to use pesticides, we want to be able to maintain that policy. So the two resolutions I'm asking for kind of go in concert. The first would be the renewal of the no pesticide use policy, and the second is to allow me to issue the letter, which is allowing us to have our own determination over the pesticide use. Yeah.
So I have been in touch with Senator Gillibrand's office on this topic. Obviously, it's a House resolution, but if it coming forward into the Senate or as part of the Farm Bill to the Senate, she said that she would oppose this policy. I talked to them about some wording for such a resolution. They haven't gotten back to me yet. I'm absolutely supportive of sending the letter, but I think it could probably be polished up a little bit with that, and actually referring to our own town policy of, for town areas being non-pesticide related. So I would suggest that maybe we try and hold off on that authorization until the next meeting and see if I can get that letter
All
published.
right, but I wouldn't have any objection to your authorizing it tonight pending those.
For me too, yeah, to
Pending,
polish up the letter, yeah.
pending those, and then we'll just defer sending the letter until you've made those modifications and gotten the information back from the senator's office. Yeah, Sarah?
I know, I'd like to extend till we send it to not only to Gillibrand and maybe our New York folks, but also people that are actively on the ag committee.
Yeah.
I can get those contact informations, but they are directly involved with ensuring that the farm bill goes through on the House side.
All right, great. Then I'll definitely defer this. We'll put that on the next agenda. Does anybody have an objection to the no use policy on
What
behalf?
what about rodents, like stuff when you don't even control like roadside or?
We don't
Don't really
use
use
the chemical for that purpose. I mean, bait and trap
Is
is.
it on, Gannon doesn't do anything anymore?
No.
Nope.
Gannon's been helping us with, we got 2 pump stations, we have rodents that they're trying
Yes.
right now, yeah. And then West Cliff, we had a major issue with, that's the only thing they're helping us with.
Okay, but you're not using the chemical,
No, they're trapping.
right? Yeah, right. So we've always used bait and trap. I mean, that was my understanding when we were using Gannon for stuff that was unbeknownst to the town board, and it was it was folks that worked for the town that were not practicing our policy. So that's kind of why I'm asking for the reaffirmation, because we have a sustainability policy which is being reworded as we speak, and sooner or later that'll come back to the board. And I just wanted to go go forward on this letter and then reaffirm for town employees that that's the sentiment of the board, that we have a no chemical, no pesticide use policy. All right, so would you be willing to do that resolution tonight, or do you want to keep the two connected?
I'm fine doing that one tonight.
Again,
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
all right.
Right.
I'll entertain a resolution to support the DACC's no use pesticide policy recommendation. I have a motion from Sarah and a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Dennis, you can carry that message back to the and let them know that there's Max is working with both New York State delegates and Sarah's gonna work with the ag administration.
There aren't many Democrats, but the Republicans may care as well.
All right, great. All right, with that, I'll move on to the check registries. All right, and we'll do this individually. There are 3 separate check registries that Comptroller Fusco has forwarded in the package. I'll entertain a motion to support or to authorize acceptance of the December 20th check registry. Counselor Mannion, I'll have a second from Fiorenza. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Do anyone care if we keep the same motions in second for the other registries? All right, I'll have a motion from Carrie and a second from Joe for the December 22nd check registry. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. And likewise, I'll entertain.
Along that avenue, and I think these check registers have a lot of information in them,
Yeah,
and possibly we might want to have the controller once every 3 months, just come and
Do a little.
discuss.
I didn't say that in the organizational meeting, but I intend to put on the on the agenda department heads on a more frequent basis to come give us reports
This was their face.
and, development, planning and zoning department. One of the issues has been we haven't had department heads. We've had some turnover.
Right.
But for 2024, it's certainly my goal to get more frequent updates on all levels and also including the board. So if you're a liaison, we may have regular scheduled. So you can work with me to set the agenda that's most convenient and communicative for you. But I'd like to see a little more feedback on that basis. Yeah,
I had a question on one of them, and I called Rocky about it today, and he straightened it out for me. Fayetteville Dodge, $18,738. The hell are you buying there for that much money, Rock? Said it's a police car that was severely damaged, and they had it repaired, and they got full insurance back on it too, so they paid the full.
right. What you're seeing is the outflow of cash.
Right.
You're not seeing the inflow.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I didn't call the police after. They got the word from the man that knew. But when that jumps off the page, it's $18,000 in paying for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. That means someone's reading.
I'm reading them.
All right, good. All right, so with that, I have Carrie and Joe on a motion and second for the December 29th. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Is there any other information or things that need to be covered in the public session?
I would just like to do a reminder that we're going to be using software coming up on the next meeting, fingers crossed. So if you haven't set up your username and password, please try to.
Are you talking to me?
All set.
I have.
Yeah, I know Bernard, I have to add Bernard on there.
I know I haven't set mine up yet, so.
I found the email and I had like an ADD moment and just, great, I found the
think
email,
I'm set.
on to next task.
I think so.
So,
If you go, if you went and you tried to say, and then it says it's expired, you just have to go to that same website and click forgot password, and then it will send you a new link.
What's the name of the software range?
It's Civics Plus. I'll be haunting you guys, because you guys can't be added onto my executive session list unless you actually have a username and
I
password.
think I sent it back, or I used the wrong email or something. What did I do?
Yeah, you used the OEI one and I had already confirmed you under supervisor.
Okay. Okay. All right, with that, we do have, there's three items we go into executive session for. Oh, Jason.
Well,
Jason left. All right. But it's. All right, so anyways, we have a contract negotiation we need to discuss in executive session. So I'll entertain a motion to enter executive session from Sarah and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried.